Well, thanks for tuning into the Ozarks First Digital Desk. I have Alissa Zhu here, who is a Springfield native that I was lucky enough to share a classroom with over a decade ago at Central High School. And this week, she has won the highest honor in journalism. So we are talking to her about that today. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes here to hop on a call with us. I guess first, the journalism nerd in me has to know a little bit more about the reporting that won you this award. What was the story and what did it take to get it?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, Lauren. It's so good to talk with you again. Um, it was a long path to get here. It was such a surreal experience winning the Pulitzer on Monday. I was just so happy and grateful and honored. But it was about 2 years of work, and I had a really big team behind me that I worked with very closely at both the Baltimore Banner, where I'm a reporter, as well as the New York Times Local Investigations Fellowship, which we partnered with for this investigation. And over the course of 2 years, my co-reporters and I, Jessica Gallagher and Nick Team, we spent so much time, going all across the city looking for folks to talk to who had been personally impacted by the overdose crisis here. So we spoke with grieving families, frontline workers, people struggling with addiction, and we, had not only some pretty basic questions about who was dying from overdoses, where and how, but also, how is this taking a toll on our communities? And what are state and local officials doing to address this catastrophic crisis? And what we found in our reporting is that, a lot of top leaders had kind of dropped the ball as the overdose rate in Baltimore had gotten worse and worse in recent years. Data was a huge part of our reporting as well. There was some pretty basic autopsy information that we needed to get access to that the state wasn't providing to us. So we ended up suing the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, and we won. And we were able to find, through all of this reporting that Baltimore had, fatal overdose rate that was nearly 2 times as high as the next large city in the US. And that, this crisis was hitting some overlooked populations especially hard. And that, the state had struggled for a long time to properly regulate treatment programs, including ones that were getting lots of government funding. And in one especially sort of tragic example, there was a treatment program where people went to get help for addiction problems, but a lot of them ended up overdosing and dying. And among the 13 deaths that we traced to that one program in Baltimore, included a 1-year-old child who had starved to death.
Oh my gosh, how tragic. Wow, that's incredible. I'm sure you can't really put a number of hours or days or months on the project necessarily, but I mean, do you have a concept of how much time and effort went into the reporting?
It's hard to say. I think for the better part of 2 years, I was working a lot of nights as well as weekends, and my co-reporters and I, and our editors put in a ton of time into this project because we felt it was so important, to bring light to this problem that in past years had not been discussed very widely in Baltimore, by leaders and also by members of the media. So we wanted to do right, by everyone who was brave enough to share their stories with us and to trust us to be able to expose, what was happening.
Yeah. I don't think I can say it enough, but I mean, congratulations. And I think I speak for everyone in Springfield when we say we're so proud of you. What was going through your mind Monday when you were watching to see if you would win?
Uh, it was just so surreal. I just couldn't quite believe that this is where my career would take me. you know, growing up in Springfield, my I grew up there, but my roots in journalism are also there. So my very first byline was at the Central High Times, and I had gotten my first full-time reporting job at the Springfield News Leader after college, and it was just so crazy to think, um, that over the course of 10 years or so, I would end up in Baltimore and end up winning a Pulitzer Prize. And well, I was really grateful for, all those experiences that taught me so much about, you know, what it means to be a reporter, how to look for public records, how to report on, a community that you care so much about. And I'm just so grateful for, everyone in my life.
What would you say, do you think it takes, do you think it delivers a message or do you hope that it does to other journalists? Because I know for me, it's inspiring to see work like this appreciated and, getting the credit it deserves because it's not always, the most glamorous job or a job that gets a ton of thanks. So I guess what would you say to other journalists out there about the work that they do and how meaningful it is?
Yeah. Working in local journalism is really, really hard. I so admire the work that you do for Springfield. And there, was a time about 5 years ago where I had actually decided to quit journalism. After working in different newsrooms where it just felt like, you saw the staff shrinking and people had to do the work of multiple positions and um, not always having the time or resources that you necessarily wanted to pursue sort of these really important stories. I decided to go to grad school for something else. And, obviously I ended up back on the path of journalism. And I'm very lucky that, I have had the opportunities that I have now. But, I think like don't give up. I think there are some really ambitious and great initiatives out there that are trying to save local news, that are trying to give local journalists the time and the tools and resources that are needed to, really cover their communities. And I think the Banner, being one example of that, the New York Times Local Investigations Fellowship being another. I think that people recognize the importance of the work we do, and hopefully that this is just beginning.
Do you have any big celebration plans or have those already happened? How do you celebrate an award like this?
We popped some champagne. Um, I called my parents, friends, just, celebrating with our loved ones. My I wanted to give a shout out to my husband Jack, who is not a Springfield native, but we did meet at the Springfield News Leader when we were both reporters there. And, we have gone through a lot together. And he has, he moved with me when I came to Baltimore for grad school. And I really couldn't have done any of this without him because he supported me when uh, I felt like sort of giving up on my dreams of journalism. And so a lot of that celebration has been with him as well.
Oh, well, that's amazing. Is there anything else that I mean, not to, move past this accomplishment so quickly, but anything else that you're working on right now that you want to talk about that's exciting to you?
There's more work to be done. The news never stops. I was told I should take the day off on Tuesday, after the celebrations to just like rest and, you know, enjoy life. And I ended up attending a budget town hall because you got to get back to work. But yeah, I think mostly I'm really grateful for the extra attention that we've been able to bring to this crisis in Baltimore, but I think there's just so much work to be done. Um, the city recently, has been getting, hundreds of millions of dollars from a lawsuit against opioid manufacturers. So it's, this kind of incredible once in a lifetime opportunity to really dig in and put some resources to addressing this problem. And we'll be covering how that goes. We're, following the money, and a lot of the problems that we've written about too, like they haven't stopped existing. We'll keep on covering things.
Spoken like a true journalist at the town hall meeting the next day. That's hilarious. I guess the one other thing I would ask you, just because, I deal a lot with open records law too, and, requests like that. Have you noticed a shift at all in the attitude of willingness of, state agencies or some of those agencies that you were working to get information from, willingness to share with media, or do you think, that's probably a continual fight?
Um, I would love to have easier public records fights here on out. I think it's just, a thing that we have to work with our government partners on. And I guess maybe part of our job is educating them on sort of what Maryland's public records law says. Fortunately, the Banner has an amazing lawyer, and he has been really critical in, making sure that we are advocating for public records to be public.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to ask you. Is there anything else while I have you that you want to say?
Just it's been such an incredible opportunity, and I was so happy to hear from you, and keep up, the good work in journalism in Springfield, and I hope everybody supports their local news.